Is there ever in your mind a situation where it's okay to plug a surge protector into another surge protector?
Yeah, it's anytime you need more plugs on that surge protector.
Okay.
It's like a network switch.
Done and done. Thanks for listening.
No, I look, there are rules, good reasons not to plug things into other things. But like sometimes I'll put a surge protector at the end of an extension cord.
Yeah, that's probably fine. The thing I've never been clear about, and like, because, the recommendation has always been don't plug a surge protector into another surge protector. I didn't know if that was a thing about stacking the surge protection and that presenting an issue, or is that more of a general, forgive me for saying this, but the general public is kind of dumb safety precaution of like, hey, you shouldn't overload a circuit. You shouldn't be running too many things off of one outlet. You shouldn't be, X, Y, and Z multiplying plugs across. You know what I mean? Like, is it something inherent to the way surge protection works and that you shouldn't stack that? Or is it just, hey, electricity is dangerous, like, be smart?
Oh, man, I don't know that. But my assumption is that it's hey, people will do something stupid like plug 35 things into one 120 volt outlet.
Hey, what if you had like a 10 outlet surge protector and you could that's just 10 more surge protectors you could plug in?
Yeah. Well, like, so Adam and I were building a PC the other day at PC World, and we put a bunch of, we put a lot of fans. It was one of those fishbowl cases with like 10 fans,
I hate those
10 or 11 fan slots. I think they're really cool.
The kind where like two sides are glass, but it's one right angle glass panel.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, man, the structural lack of integrity to that design, like, just makes my skin crawl.
Well, so the glass on the front is typically real thick
on
those.
I guess.
Like, and there's metal on the top and the bottom. So you screw it in and it becomes the third wall of your house.
Like, admittedly, I'm not a window and PC cases fan to begin with, but like that just feels like a form over function edge case, like extreme asking for trouble.
Well, okay, so I don't stand on my PC case. It hangs under my desk in a structured way. Anyway, we put 10 fans in this thing, and there were plenty of fan headers to plug most of them in with some splitters, but the fans that we had came with these 3-way splitters. And I was like, well, what if we could plug 3 fans into each splitter, and then we plug those 3 splitters into another splitter, and then just plug it into one fan header?
Why not? Look, 12 volts should be enough for anybody. I think Bill Gates said that.
Yeah, that's what I said. Yeah, exactly. That's what Bill Gates said. And I was surprised because it actually worked. I expected the fans to like run slower than they're supposed to or something, and it was totally fine.
I guess they all necessarily have to run at the same speed, but that's probably fine.
Yeah, so they all run the same speed when you do that, but we weren't. This wasn't a PC for actual use. This was just to do a build on a Thursday afternoon. Yeah,
show build. The reason I was asking about daisy chaining surge protectors, I've got the CRT going, as we discussed last week. I've been tidying up what I'm coming to think of as my little Mr. Nook, or my analog video game Nook. It's in this like.
But you got a NUC for that?
I do not have a NUC for my Nook.
Okay, you don't have a NUC.
Not yet.
Or a NUC.
Not yet, but maybe at some point.
You should think about a NUC.
It's in one square of this little kind of like 4x2 IKEA sort of shelving unit behind me that you can kind of
classic.
See. I've got an old surge, but like an old, like
vintage
30-year-old,
probably more of a power strip than a surge protector now.
I moved it out here. I had it back home, let's say.
I'm going to say that's probably not going to do much surge protection.
But it was a nice enough one to have. We've talked about this before. It was a nice enough one to have the little LED light on it that indicates surge protection.
Yeah.
And that light is not on anymore.
Yeah, those are my understanding is that those are not directly, they're a correlation, not a definite causation between the surge, like
more of a hint than a suggestion.
It's like the air filter light on your. It's like replace the filter light on your dehumidifier that just when you press hey, I just reset the filter, it sets a timer for 3 months. But yeah, those are like, okay. So my theory on surge protectors is it really depends on what you plug into them.
Yeah. I mean, this is the TV and a mister and like a USB powered brick and that's generally about it. Maybe a GameCube or a PS2 once in a while. So
my Mr. stuff is all plugged into one of those Anker power cubes.
Oh,
with the three like 25 watt USB ports, and then it's got 3 or 4 120 just normal power plugs on it.
Okay.
So it ends up being one tight little package.
I just started having visions of you modding that old General Electric TV for USB-C power.
Oh God,
Should do that.
Huh.
That's like a thing in console modding these days. Like a lot of people like to mod USB-C power support into things like PS2s and GameCubes now.
That makes a lot of sense, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, the EU loves it, I bet.
Yeah, I'm sure. And anyway, so there is another surge protector in the vicinity of that area, and I was just thinking, like, could I just plug that old, probably not surge protecting strip into the one that is and still get the benefits and be safe?
I don't have a good sense of how much power the old CRT uses. Like,
yeah, you can look it up.
Yeah, if you were using like a toaster oven and the microwave and then plugged your washing machine into the same surge protector and then use that last port on the surge protector to also plug in a giant gaming PC, that's going to go badly because it's going to trip your breaker.
Oh yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't actually know. I think you're probably fine.
I think it's probably fine. Although I've got another suggestion.
Yeah.
What if I buy a new surge protector instead?
I mean, I don't think that there's a lot of use for vintage in surge protection. I found a weird artifact when I was cleaning out my office last week.
I love those.
So I had in the back of the closet in my office, I had a tote bag that had about 50 pounds of pennies in it.
Huh. Okay.
Which, like, I don't want to get into the whole penny thing.
So you found several thousand artifacts instead?
Well, so look, my feelings on the pennies is the dollar has become worth less, have started to mirror the feelings of the worst person in the world on pennies.
Mm-hmm.
And, look, I just put them in a tote bag because it wasn't worth rolling them up to take them to the bank and get money. Now we have one of those coin machines, which has been at the grocery store for like 15 years now.
The Coin Star?
Yeah. So that tells you how long this bag of coins has been in my garage. But I mean, in my closet. And I was like, I don't want to have to sort this, but I have a 12-year-old who doesn't get to handle real money very much. So she was like, I'll go through those and sort those, Dad. And I was like, oh yeah, okay.
Is this like the CRT in the old video games thing where it's novel to her? She actually wants to deal with something that we all thought was mundane and annoying.
Yeah, artifacts of a past time, exactly. Yeah. Well, look, I have especially when I was in high school, I ran a couple of vending machines around Bristol.
Wow.
The kind that you put a dime in and get like some candy coated peanuts or something out of capsule machines.
Man, a dime.
Yeah. Dime
vending machine.
Yeah. Well, it's like the kind that, it's like the gumball machine, basically. So
like literal turning, like crank.
Like you turn a crank.
Oh, like a crank operated one. Okay. That's
like I bought a bunch of them for like $300 and,
do you remember when dollar slots became a thing on vending machines?
Yeah. They never worked.
You remember? Well, I mean, I'm more thinking about the time when you didn't need multiple dollars to buy things out of machines. Like a coin slot was enough.
Yeah. You just put when I was a kid, back in my day, you just dropped a quarter in the vending machine and it would give you a soda pop.
Yep.
So anyway, she was going through all these coins and I told her to pull out anything that doesn't look like the other ones. Right. So there were a couple of loonies, a couple of Canadian dollars, a couple of toonies. She's like, these are weird. Yeah. Toonies are $2 Canadian coins with loons, but they have like a silver outside and a gold inside.
Oh, sure. Yes.
Yeah.
I think I've got a tiny little drawstring sack of foreign coins around here that I've accumulated on my various work travels.
That's what Crown Royal bags are for, right? You put your foreign money in there. So, we had some pesos, we had some, some other stuff, some Czech money, some stuff like that. And there was one Chuck E. Cheese token from 2000, which was, I guess, the last time I went to Chuck E. Cheese. That's going to be my new poker card keeper, I think.
Right.
Is Chuck E. Cheese token. It's pretty good. But she also found this, which is a Maximum PC Kick-Ass dog tag. The Kick-Ass Award was our Editor's Choice Award at Maximum PC.
Okay.
But the interesting thing on it is on the back, it says Maximum PC Party, Hard Rock Cafe, Wednesday, November 17th, 1999, 8 p.m. to 11 p.m.
Wow.
Now, that was at Compdex in 1999.
Okay.
And I'm going to go and tell you, I would not be sitting here right now talking to you without that dog tag. Because I was working at Ars Technica at the time and Maximum PC was selling our ads. And so when we went to Comdex, we met the Maximum PC, like all the ad network people.
Oh,
including like Tom's Hardware and some other folks, big names, had like an ad dinner because we went and met the people who were making money for us.
Sure.
And then they were like, hey, you should come to the party on Thursday night or whatever night it was, Wednesday night. It's at the Hard Rock. And we were like, okay, sure, we'll come to the party. And they gave us all these dog tags because this was the admit one for the party.
Yes. The Hard Rock, the site of many, many extracurricular functions at Las Vegas trade shows.
Yeah, it's like off the strip, but it's fun. And they had pretty good vibes. So anyway, we went to this party, and it's where I met all the editors of Maximum PC.
Wow.
Who then were like, hey, you should come out. They recruited me away from Ars Technica, basically. And we're like, you should move to California and come be an editor at this magazine. And like, we ended up, it was a really fun, like, it was a weird party because we got there and it was all dudes. And then suddenly a bunch of women showed up, and they were clearly not computer nerds because it was like the publisher of the magazine was like, we got to get girls at this party. Mm-hmm. So I think he called somebody. And then we all left and went to, I think, the Rio, which was still there then.
Okay.
And drank drinks and danced until like basically I had to go get on the plane to fly home.
Great.
Drunk. I when I got to Nashville and had to drive the 3 hours to Knoxville, I had to sit in the parking lot at the hotel for about 10 hours. So I was sober enough to drive.
Wow. 10 hours?
It was a good night.
10 hours?
Look, I never went to sleep. I went straight from Maximum PC party at 8:00 to getting on the plane at 8:55 the next morning.
Look, Vegas will do that to you.
It was bad. I mean, look, we also stayed at the Circus that year because we didn't have any money at ours, and everybody kind of paid for their own hotel, and I was broke. Mm-hmm. So I couldn't even afford a room in the Circus. I was in the Circus extensions behind the Circus, which are like cinder block buildings in the parking lot of the Circus behind it. Like, I think it's probably where you can drive over cars with the tank place is now.
Okay, great. Circus still operating, apparently.
Circus is eternal, but the Circus hotel smelled simultaneously like fire and water damage. Like wet carpet and fire. Okay. So I assume somebody fell asleep smoking a cigarette and lit their mattress on fire, and then they also put it out, but they didn't remediate any of the carpet because it was the Circus.
Yep. That's how they roll. Anyway, wow, like full on like origin story artifact, not regular career artifact, but full on like this is where I got my start kind of thing. That's cool.
Wouldn't be here without that.
Yeah. I found something similar when I was going through waterlogged stuff in the basement a few months ago. I was very pleased about this. Like a lot of my 9083 stuff got ruined, but then up on a shelf in a duffel bag at some point, I found a little bag of basically everything I brought back from E397, which was my first one.
Oh, wow. That's an Atlanta one?
Yeah, that was the first Atlanta one. And that basically is my version of what you just described. Like that E3 was like, I wouldn't be sitting here without that E3, without going to that and meeting people from IRC. And I had my show badge and everything. It was like, man, this is kind of the beginning.
Oh, that's it. You should make a shadow box.
Yeah, probably.
My shadow box would just be this and a bunch of vodka tonics, I think.
Well, look, everybody's got to start somewhere. Okay, this one's coming straight out the Discord.
Oh.
Straight from the episode topic suggestion channel, although it was suggested by Base Guy GT as something that might not be a full episode, might in fact be good for an episode just such as this.
Perfect.
A mini topic.
Wait, we're doing mini topics?
Anyway, the proposal is that we comb through the lyrics of the Weird Al Yankovic 1999 classic All About the Pentiums to see how they hold up. 26 years later. I think you said right before we started this, you've never heard the song. I find that impossible to believe.
I mean, I'm sure I've heard it, but it's not like, look, this is confession time, Brad. Not a huge Weird Al fan.
Really?
I like UHF. Okay.
Man, how do you?
He was pretty.
How do you be your type of guy and not like Weird Al?
Look, man. Weird Al came with the kind of baggage that would get you beaten pretty good when I was a kid, and
full on 80s like nerd getting stuff in a locker type thing.
Yeah, and like. I don't know. By the time I was old enough that it wouldn't have negative repercussions on my long-term survivability, I probably was. What do you mean? Like the kind of guy you are?
There was strength in numbers. Okay, I rolled with a lot of. Weird Al was my first show.
Wow.
I was like 13. I went to a Weird Al show.
Yeah. No, that wasn't my first show.
It was excellent. All right. Anyway, the song, I believe the song is in the style of All About the Benjamins.
Yeah, I believe that's correct.
If that's the case, I think I'm just going to take these by couplet.
Yeah, that sounds good.
Each rhymed pair of lines. We can just figure out what to do with them as we go. What y'all want to do? Want to be hackers, code crackers, slackers, wasting time with all the chat room yackers?
Okay. Wait, is this a Puff Daddy song?
Yes.
That has some extra baggage now.
Pretty fraught these days, but look, Weird Al is...
Weird Al, unimpeachable.
Yes, pretty much.
Before we get into this, did you watch that Daniel Radcliffe movie?
No, God, I forgot that came out. I really should watch that.
It is. That's my favorite Weird Al joint. It's really good.
I got the sense, I don't really know how to ask this without having seen the movie. I got the sense that they did something weird with it. I mean, like, of course,
you should just watch the movie.
Right. Like, it's not just a straight up biopic, right? Like, there's something to it.
I mean, I'm not in a position to say whether it accurately represents Weird Al's life, but I will say that the movie is riveting.
I should, yes. Okay. Anyway, yes, wasted lots of time with the chat room yackers.
Yeah, that we all did that.
9 to 5, chilling at Hewlett Packard, working at a desk with a dumb little placard.
Yeah, I don't think people have placards on their desk anymore, but yeah, okay.
Also, I don't know, Hewlett Packard is something I associate with like the 60. When was Hewlett Packard founded? That's like Hewlett Packard is like original Silicon Valley, like crew cuts and like short sleeved white button up shirts style.
Yeah, pocket protectors and short sleeve dress shirts. But like Hewlett Packard still sells. They sell a buttload of computers still,
and they did back then. And also, that's what he's lampooning here. Actually, that is like the rap diss here thing is like, hey. Are you a square that works at HP? No.
But like also at this time, HP would have been the computer you buy, one of the computers you buy if you go into like Walmart.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Paying the bills with my mad programming skills, defragging my hard drive for thrills.
I do miss seeing the little boxes move around on the hard drive.
I mean, you can go get like fake defragging programs if you want these days.
Ooh, that sounds pretty good.
They exist. I think they're on places like Itch. I have straight up seen things that just look like the old Windows or DOS defragger.
I want a screensaver that does that.
I might take, well, I'm not listening to the actual song. I might take issue with the rhythm and meter of that pair of lines. But anyway, I got me 100 gigabytes of RAM. I never feed trolls and I don't read spam. You can't have 100 gigabytes, Weird Al.
I have 96.
That's not a power of 2. Well, I guess
you can do 96.
RAM.
Yeah.
RAM is not always powers of 2, but you know what I mean?
Yeah. The non-binary RAM is what the non-powers of 2 ones are called.
Installed a T1 line in my house, always at my PC, double clicking on my Miz-House.
I don't know about Miz-House, but I'll allow the rest of that.
But T1 line, like that's,
The T1 sucks. I wouldn't want a T1. You couldn't pay me to have a T1 now. I don't need that uptime. I need the speed, baby.
I think even in 99, T1 was still pretty damn, well, T1 is 1.5 megabits per second. So
T1 was... Look, I moved to California in 2000 and was freaking stoked that I could get SDSL that was 1.5 megabits each direction.
Yeah, so like that was still pretty fast in 99, right? Although that was getting like I was close to being on the university network at that point, so the T1 was actually getting kind of slow by those standards.
If you were on cable, if you had a cable modem, T1 would have been slow by then.
Yes. We met a guy at the flea market last weekend who had a T1 in the 90s. He said it cost him about $2,000 a month.
Yep.
Well, of course, I think he was running a little boutique ISP.
Homegrown ISP, yeah.
Upgrade my system at least twice a day. I'm strictly plug and play. I ain't afraid of Y2K.
Okay, those things, that doesn't make any sense. Like, look, no one could have, I mean, I guess you could have been strictly plug and play. I don't know. I feel like picking this apart is against the spirit of the song.
Probably. Upgrade my system at least twice a day. Are we talking checking for updates? Did they even do automatic updates back then?
Yeah, Windows 98 introduced automatic updates.
Okay. Remember having to go download service packs?
Oh, yeah.
Remember having to go find OSR2 on Microsoft's site somewhere?
Shout out to Blues News for letting us know when there were important security updates for your Windows 95 system.
Because back then, updates like that meant like, hey, USB works now.
No,
stuff like that.
Yeah, 98. When 95 never had USB. I mean, maybe OSR2.
No, I think. I mean, okay. Now we're just splitting hairs. I'm pretty sure OSR2 actually did add USB support to Windows 95.
But I don't think it worked. Was the problem? Anyway,
I'm down with Bill Gates. I call him Money for short.
I mean, I think he probably would like that.
I phone him up at home and I make him do my tech support. Okay,
I mean, look, on the nerd hierarchy, I think Weird Al is going to beat up Bill Gates at the end of the day.
Probably. It's all about the Pentiums. What? You've got to be the dumbest newbie I've ever seen. You've got whiteout all over your screen.
Okay.
Like
so I don't like the non-inclusive nature of this.
Yeah. Also, we're just descending into like very trite nerd cliches with the whiteout. I don't know.
Yeah, I do feel like you should try to lift up the dumb newbies rather than like smack them down. Weird Al. It's not not kind.
You think your Commodore 64 is really neato? What kind of chip you got in there? A Dorito?
Okay, that's pretty good.
Sure. Yes, that's like, okay, that is some good dumb rap battle analogy stuff. Sure.
I wish I had a Dorito.
Although clowning on a Commodore 64 now is a lot different than it would have been in 99 because now everybody wants one.
No. Yeah.
You're using a 286. Don't make me laugh. Your Windows boots up in what, a day and a half?
I mean, can't argue with it. Like, legit.
Sure. You could back up your whole hard drive on a floppy diskette. You're the biggest joke on the internet.
I don't know about diskette and internet rhyming,
man,
but yeah.
Diskette is a word I have not heard in probably 25 years, probably since about when this song came out.
This is pretty good. You think he had like a consultant come in and help him with the nerd business? You think he knew it?
I absolutely
he was living this life.
All of this came right off of Weird Al's dome. Your database is a disaster. You're waxing your modem trying to make it go faster.
Okay. Doesn't make much sense, but I think the person is supposed to be the idea of playing this person like a fool. Yeah.
Waxing your modem is a pretty funny image.
That's pretty funny. Yeah.
Hey fella, I bet you're still living in your parents' cellar, downloading pictures of Sarah Michelle Gellar.
Okay. I mean, look, that's a legitimate stereotype, I think.
And posting Me Too like some brain dead AOLer. I should do the world a favor and cap you like old Yeller. You're just about as useless as JPEGs to Helen Keller.
Well, no, there's a little bit of unfortunate ableism there, but
that all got raw.
I mean, I don't know why you need to throw down against Helen Keller. Okay. And pour one out for old Yeller, I guess.
Like straight up talking about killing people, man. Is this the only time Weird Al ever talked about murdering fools?
You really need to watch that movie, dude.
All right, there's one more.
I don't think we should do the whole verse. I think it's too long.
Oh, come on. That didn't take that long.
Okay.
I mean, we can speed through it.
Yeah, just
logging in now. Want to run with my crew? Rule cyberspace and crunch numbers like I do?
This is some real Herbert Kornfeld business here. Remember Herbert Kornfeld?
No, I don't.
Herbert Kornfeld was the Onion accountant from the Streets column from like the early 2000s.
Oh, okay.
And he basically was your accounts payable guy, but he talked like a gangster rapper.
Yes, I saw. Oh man, I should go pull some of that stuff up. Old Onion was great. I mean,
Old Onion was very good.
New Onion is also a surprising front that has opened in our war against fascism, but also like Old Onion was also quite good.
The Herbert Kornfeld was just really absurd. It's probably really offensive now, would be my guess, because Herbert Kornfeld was not a nice man.
They call me the king of the spreadsheets. Got them printed out on my bed sheets. My new computer's got the clocks. It rocks, but it was obsolete before I opened the box.
Ain't that the truth?
A lot of like mid 90s beige box stereotypes in this song, which is probably understandable.
Yeah. There were no fancy cases. There was no aluminum case in 1999.
Really just continuing on with the rapid obsolescence for multiple lines here. You say you've had your desktop for over a week. Throw that junk away, man. It's an antique. Your laptop is a month old. Well, that's great if you could use a nice heavy paperweight.
I mean, look, 1999, 6 video cards launched.
Oh, yeah. No, I mean, like, people were buying new CPUs every like 18 months back then because things were slow and getting faster quickly.
You got to get K6 200. You're going to get played, fool.
That's right. My digital media is write protected. Every file inspected. No viruses detected. He's the best.
Yeah.
That's the theme here. He's on top of the pecking order.
Yeah.
I beta tested every operating system, gave props to some and others I dissed them.
Wow.
You think he dissed BOS?
I bet he didn't like Windows ME.
Probably not.
Yeah.
I bet he was way into BOS, actually. In fact, while your computer's crashing, mine's multitasking. It does all my work without me even asking. So he was definitely way into BOS if he was a multitasking guy.
No, this is all about the Pentiums. You couldn't get BOS on a Pentium in 1999. Well, I guess you could in 99.
Eventually they ported it.
Yeah.
Got a flat screen monitor, 40 inches wide. I don't know if these lyrics are... I don't know if the word wide actually appears twice in that line or not. I believe that yours says Etch-a-Sketch on the side.
Wow.
flat screen monitor. Like, I guess there were.
That would have been a big deal. That would have been an expensive monitor in 1999.
99 were like my first LCD monitor was 2005 or 6.
Yeah, he's got that pretty fly for a rabbi money to buy a 40-inch flat screen, and
he had the bling. In a 32-bit world, you're a 2-bit user. You've got your own news group, alt.totalloser.
Okay, that's not actually the structure for news groups, but I'll allow it.
Wait, could you not put hyphens in news groups?
Yeah, well, no, they're going to let you do an alt.top level. It has to be alt.something.
Yeah.
Other, well, the man will come down on you from trying to make a new top level alt dot.
It's only got so many syllables to work with. Okay.
I guess.
Your motherboard melts when you try to send a fax. Where do you get your CPU? In a box of Cracker Jacks?
Sick.
Yep. Just
a free with purchase.
Laying it down. Play me online. Well, you know that I'll beat you. If I ever meet you, I'll delete you.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say the repetition of the word "you" in there that way is pretty good. Like those are some legit decent. Those are bars.
Yeah, I'll delete you. I'm gonna put that in my vernacular.
You know that I'll beat you. If I ever meet you, I'll delete you. That just flows, man.
That's amazing.
Yep. All right. That's all the verse.
It's all about the Pentiums. It's all about the Pentiums, baby.
Yep.
Yeah. The song rips. This sounds good. I'll have to listen to this.
I'm going to say the song is more than a little bit of a time capsule, but I'm okay with that. It's like, by the standards of the time, pretty good.
I don't know about the Commodore slander.
Pretty good, I'm going to say. Good on you, Weird Al. Keep being weird.
Brad, what's your thermal goo application method?
Man, I've never settled on one, to be perfectly honest. I'd say like a pea size or smaller dot in the middle, and then like a very small dot around each corner.
Well, so
these days.
So I had some time. I was doing some benchmarks and I was swapping CPUs out a lot. So I had time to work on this and do some research. And so I usually use the Cryonaut stuff, which has a little brochure in the bag that says how to apply the goo.
Oh, okay. Well, I mean, if there were manufacturer recommendations, I would just go with those.
Well, but then I went and looked online. Okay, so Cryonaut says, hey, why don't you take the goo and we give you a little smearer thing, and you use that smearer to kind of spread it out flat over the surface. So you want to get a thin layer.
Okay.
And then there's less chance it's going to blast out the sides and all that.
Which like I avoid that at all costs. I mean, I think we're probably a long way from the days of conductive thermal paste, but still, like you just don't want to mess around.
You can still get conductive thermal paste if you want, but it's not.
You're doing like liquid metal or something crazy, but I think most of the decent like regular heat spreader style stuff is fine these days. But still, you don't want to mess.
Yeah, you don't want to mess. So, okay, so they said to spread it all flat, and they give you a little trowel if you buy a big enough tube of the stuff. But then I looked at the internet, and the video recommendations are a little different depending on whether you have Intel or AMD, and especially if you have a dual CCD AMD chip, because the hot part of the dual CCD AMD chips isn't actually in the middle; it's actually toward the top of or maybe the bottom of the heat spreader.
It was the bottom on Zen 4. I don't know how it is now.
I think it's still the bottom. I can't remember. But the point is, they recommend putting the big blob there and then doing like 4 small blobs in the corner and kind of like give it a little twist when you put it down. So it kind of spreads it around.
Yeah, that sounds close to my method.
A push and twist.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. I tried the spread for the first time when I was doing the last few CPU swaps for this benchmark loop. And I'm going to go and tell you, it's much easier to clean up. There's way less goo. But if you got to do it it works best while the CPU is still warm from the last set of benchmarks.
Sure.
So that it kind of decreases the viscosity of the stuff so that it's easier to spread.
That's what I was going to ask was what's your cleanup routine?
Oh,
do you obsessively like isopropyl off every last bit of the old goo before you put more stuff on?
Well, it depends whether it's AMD or Intel, because the AMD ones have those notches on the side that are impossible to clean out.
Yeah, that's terrible.
But I actually use Arctic Clean, which is I think it's from the same people that make Arctic Silver.
Oh.
And it's two solvents basically. One is designed to remove the goo, and then the other is just like removes a little bit of is super cleaning for the very top layer to get a nice clean surface for your interface.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like $6. It's not expensive. And the tubs usually last me a couple of decades.
Oh, maybe I should get some of that.
And you just put a couple of drops of it on and put first the one that's labeled 1, and then you use that to get the first layer of goo off, and then you kind of polish it with the number 2.
I see. I just got some 91% isopropyl and have been using that, but
yeah, this is nice, and you put it on both surfaces. So like if there's any kind of tarnish on the copper on your heat, on the bottom of your heat sink, it'll clean that off too, which is nice. And it smells like oranges. It smells like citrus.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, most people are not switching CPUs as much, definitely, as you, or I mean, I've only switched 2 CPUs in the last 3 years, but even that is more than most people deal with.
The big problem with the Arctic Clean is usually when I need it, I can't remember where I put it last.
Yep, that will definitely happen. I guess you don't run into this as much as you change CPUs, but I always wonder how long, and I'm sure this varies by brand, how long you have before it starts drying out and becoming desiccated and like it's just not serving its purpose anymore.
So that definitely varies by brand. Some of the Cryonaut specifically sells formulations that are designed to last a long time or designed for enthusiasts, and the enthusiast stuff will dry out faster because it's designed for more thermal transfer. Like old Arctic Silver was a classic example. That stuff was designed to last for a really long time.
Sure.
But still, if you're at 4 or 5 years into a PC and you're starting to see your thermals are looking weird, like the question I have is, do people who keep a CPU for 5 or 6 years actually look at thermals? And I kind of wonder if they do. Typically, replacing the thermal goo is an easy way to solve late stage PC CPU crashes.
Yeah. You know what never changes is a graphite pad, but I don't know. I still love the graphite pad in practice, but I had to stop using one when I got this 14th gen Intel.
It's too hot.
Because every degree centigrade really counted on this thing, and even bringing it down like 3 or 4 degrees as paste did was very welcome at that point.
Yeah, I totally get that. I think the graphite pads are great for stuff like SSDs.
Yeah.
Where you need like contact between the board and the cooling device.
Yeah, or I use one. I still use a graphite pad in my NAS, which is a 12600K, which is not getting super hot and is also not like running at full tilt very much, unless I'm compiling a kernel or something.
I guess compiling a kernel does burn it pretty good.
Actually, I rarely compile a kernel. The only things I compile on a regular basis are ZFS kernel modules and Python and things like that. You don't need to get into it. The runtime manager that I use compiles Python from source every time you install a new version. Anyway, there's that. I don't know what it's called. I think we've probably talked about it before. It's the type of thing you still have to refer to by its sort of like industry chemical, like alphanumeric code. I know Linus Tech Tips has pushed this stuff before. It's some kind of other type of thermal interface material. I think we've talked about it before in the context of like, hey, people are talking about this instead of paste. I wonder if this is good, but I don't remember. I don't remember what it's called. I think it's made by Honeywell, if I'm not mistaken, but it's like some other type of thermal compound that has to like cure. Like the longer it stays heated up, the more effective it gets, or something like that.
Yeah. Like so, thermal interface is a place I don't like to do a lot of experimentation.
Yeah.
The one exception is that when I worked when I was working back in PC, we used to use this stuff in the lab that was specifically for short-term testing because it was easy to clean, and it did a good job, but it definitely would dry out like in a period of months, and that stuff was nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't like. Every once in a while, I look at the liquid metal on the site, and then I'm like, oh, do I really want to fool with gallium in my computer, and then have to deal with the repercussions of gallium leaking out of my computer because it's on the side, and I'm probably good.
You know, it's nice when things just work.
I like things that just work.
You know, when you buy storage bins with the intention of stacking them, there's the one thing they don't really come out and tell you is like what the weight limits are on those things.
Really?
It feels like I could roll over to the closet here and look at these new bins I bought, but I don't remember seeing any recommendations about how heavy to make them and how many high you can stack them.
So my experience is the kind you buy at Target absolutely don't say that.
Yeah, but that's where these came from. I mean, they're hefties, like they're like reasonably resilient, I would like to think, but
So I like I've been getting these HDX bins from Home Depot. They look like,
are they the black and yellow ones?
The black and yellow ones.
Okay. You are the second person. I think we had one of these that we stored like guinea pig hay in, and for actually, yes, I'm looking the big black bin with the yellow lid.
Yep, that's it.
But you're the second person. God, that kills me. That's cheaper than I bought. Cheaper and probably sturdier. Those things are built like tanks, right? But
they're built kind of like brick shit houses. Yeah.
Oh, and I started to say the reason I didn't get those, I wanted something clear because I want to be able to see what's in the bin.
That is exactly the knock against them. The problem, I think, is that the clear plastic is always softer than the not clear plastic.
You're probably right. Actually, I could have just labeled them. That's a real bummer. But I'm also working with like very tight dimensions in this closet in this apartment. Like those were too big for. I think I would have gotten less net storage space if I had gotten ones of that size.
So they're less efficient because there's a big cutoff down the side, like they taper in.
Yes.
The thing I really like about them the most is that they have 27. They have different sizes that stack with each other. So you can stack a 14-gallon with a 27-gallon one. So like if you have something like books or something heavy, then it'll go in the pile with the other ones.
Well,
but I can still lift it up.
I may have made poor choices. I don't know. I've been rebinning all my stuff as we've talked about. I'm going kind of console generation by generation.
Yeah.
So I've got like the bottom one is like PS4 and Xbox One era primarily.
Okay.
Above that is actually, hang on. I think that might be 2 generations in that one. I think it's like PS3, 360 and Xbox One, PS4.
Just hardware though, not games.
Yeah, mostly just consoles and controllers basically.
Yeah.
Above that is all the GameCube, Xbox, PS2, but also all my handhelds. Above that is everything before that, basically Super Nintendo, N64, like PlayStation.
How are you separating stuff inside the bins?
It's a fun little Tetris game. Like generally, I pretty much always go anything that's like squarish and flat that can stack well goes in first. So consoles and boxes and that AV selector, like anything that is squarish and will stack as if it were Tetris pieces, and then controllers and cables and stuff like that kind of fill in around the edges.
So I like to have like a box inside the box with all of the the original Xbox stuff together, and then a box inside so that then if I want to get to it, I can just pull out that one. Yeah. I can open it up and pull out that one thing and don't have to dig for power connectors and mess up the whole box.
I consider doing something like that, but that's like you said, that's just kind of, you're losing a little bit more storage space that way.
You do lose a little bit more.
Anyway, that stack is now, I bought 8 bins stacked in a 2 columns by 4 configuration. Okay. The console stack, I've only got 3 bins mostly full, and the bottom one is already starting to show some signs of.
Oh no!
I mean, the bin itself is not buckling, but the little handles that lock into place, like the handle is coming open slowly because it's bowing enough that the handle no longer grips. Nope. So now I'm like, what do I even put in that top bin? Like now I'm afraid to keep stacking.
Look, let me tell you, Brad, $9.98 today. They'll deliver them to your house.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sitting here looking at them. I'd have to look at the dimension.
622 in stock.
Just spent $100 on these bins.
Well, send them back. They get red lids or yellow lids.
Red?
I don't know if I want red, but so these aren't perfect because, like I said, the taper is there's a lot of wasted space on the side because of the taper in, and there's structural like grooves and digs and stuff that. Those
grooves are that would not. Well, I mean, the way I'm stacking or not stacking, but cramming a bunch of extra little cables and doohickeys in, those would fit into those grooves just fine.
Yeah, it helps, but for me, it's the hay. You can get it in 14-gallon or 27-gallon, and it's the same stacking size. Is the big deal. So then I don't have to carry a bunch of 80-pound 27-gallon tubs around when somebody needs one.
I bet I would only be able to fit 4 of these in the closet where I've got 8 of these current bins.
That's possible.
I think it would probably still be a net loss of storage space. So I don't know. Any structural engineers on the Discord want to chime in?
Brad, do you have Mario Mania?
Always, since I was born. Oh no, you're holding up a copy of the classic Mario Mania Nintendo Player's Guide. I do not. Weird. I just happen to have a PDF of it on my desktop, though.
What a shocking coincidence. This has all the secrets of Super Mario World plus a whole lot more about Mario only from Nintendo. I believe, I could be wrong, but I think this was something I got for subscribing to Nintendo Power.
Oh, have you had that since? I was going to ask where you got it. You've had it since it was new?
I've had it since the 90s. Yeah.
Wow. Actually, there is actually a distinct possibility I do have a copy of that in the basement. But anyway.
Yeah. I mean, I asked a friend of the show, Steve Lynn, about it. And he's like, yeah, that's not, we have those. We're good.
Oh yeah. I'm that thing. I
like
bet
they sent
was
out a bazillion of them.
printed by the millions. What have you seen this Meet Mario diagram?
I'm flipping through it right now.
It's on page 4. They have a literal diagram. It's like a technical diagram of Mario.
Yeah, he has a ever peeled Bowser indicators pointing at his eyes.
Yes, his nose is labeled as a trouble sniffer. His ears direct line for princesses in peril. His hat is labeled as a custom made fallout shelter. Are there a lot of nuclear explosions happening in the Mushroom Kingdom? More like the Mushroom Cloud Kingdom.
It's funny. It's funny because having worked at a magazine, I understand how stuff like this happens, because you get to a point and you're like, hey, we have this page. We have an extra page to fill. We'll just put a big line art drawing of Mario there, but we got plenty of those. And then they're like, it's kind of boring. Let's put some captions on it. We'll put funny captions on it. And then here you go. Trouble sniffer.
Yes. Captions like the steel-toed turtle trompers.
The one I liked is the evolution of Mario. This is funny because this is a thing Nintendo's done over the years. Because they did this with the Hyrule Historia things where they tried to cohere all of Zelda into one overarching intentional story when it clearly wasn't meant to be that.
Sure.
But this was in 1991, and this is showing the evolution of Mario from Donkey Kong to Donkey Kong Jr. when he's the villain, just to be clear, having enslaved Donkey Kong, to Mario Bros, to Super Mario Bros, to Super Mario Brothers 2, which I don't know how you even wedge that one in, to Super Mario Brothers 3, and then it comes over. It has Super Mario Land, Dr. Mario. I wonder where he got his degree.
There's a page on the Super Mario Brothers Super Show in here. They put a picture of Captain Lou Albano in this thing.
Well, I haven't gotten there yet.
That's impressive. There's also a Luigi diagram, by the way.
Well, hold on, but I want to talk about the cameos because they list Mario was in Pinball. Oh, he drives the little thing at the bottom, and he was in Alleyway on the Game Boy. Their Arkanoid knockoff. Quicks on Game Boy.
Don't disrespect Alleyway, please.
Amigo Mario under the sombrero. He showed up in a lot of weird places. Wow, this Luigi one. Meet Luigi, parentheses, player number 2.
His hat is a Luigi lid.
It is. He has a surprise indicators. Those are eyebrows. Lean green and seldom seen.
Luigi's head is on a swivel.
Yeah,
I can tell you that.
They were really worried about Wart. Wart was the bad guy in Super Mario Brothers 2, right?
Yep.
And
He's the giant frog.
We don't hear a lot from Wart these days.
No, the Super Mario Brothers 2 did not get its due, in my opinion.
I need to go back and play it now that I have the CRT again, because I think it doesn't play well with latency.
No better or worse than any other game from that era. But
is this all art from the manuals? Is that where all this line art came from?
This is a lot of art. I think the manuals. I bet a lot of this is from the manuals. I wouldn't think. I mean, it's probably all just general key art that they made and put in manuals and things like this.
Where's the Lou Albano page? I didn't find that.
It's pretty close to the beginning. Hollywood Hero.
Wow. They were still proud of the Mario Super Show at this point.
Right. Yes, page 28.
The real meat and potatoes here is a screen by screen breakdown of every single world in Super Mario World, including the secret worlds.
Yeah, I wonder how they did that at this time. This is pre-Photoshop and pre-desktop publishing.
Oh, I'll tell you how they did that.
I wonder if they had development hardware that they were able to dump screenshots from that made it easier to lay this stuff out.
Maybe. I know that at most of the computer magazines at this time, they had a dark room where they might have used the source art too.
Well, I'm talking for the screenshots because they've got, like you said, they've got these giant strips that are the entire levels of numerous levels in here, and then they clearly had to lift screenshots and stitch them together for this thing.
They probably did. The way we did it at Future in those days was we had a really dark room with a TV and a telephoto lens on it. So you'd stand 20 feet away from the TV and somebody would play the TV and somebody else would shoot pictures and you would then you'd have the photos developed, and then you would tape them together and put cellophane tape over the seams, so that when you laid them out, you could blow them up or shrink them or whatever.
I bet it was something like that, because even if they did have like development hardware that could get screenshots, what are you going to put them on? Like it's not like
there was the
dominant computer at this time was like a 286. Like it's not like that. It's not like they could really.
Yeah, this would have been
with,
90 probably, right?
Like, even if they could get native digital images of all this stuff, there's not a whole lot they could do with them anyway.
When was this? It doesn't say when this was published.
91, right?
Well, it could have been after though too, but I assume it was time to come out with Super Mario, with this NES and Super Mario World.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is a weird time for publishing, right? Because it was like Photoshop existed at this point, though.
Did it? I'm not sure. Are you sure about that?
I managed a Photoshop machine in 1992, probably.
Oh, wow. God, 87 was the first version of Photoshop, actually.
Yeah. So there was some desktop publishing. Quark was around at that point, I bet. PageMaker, I think, was around. Aldous PageMaker was still a thing.
All right.
So, yeah.
Okay.
But I don't. My guess is that this is a combination of some real analog business and then also, the way you would lay out a page back then in the pre-computer days was you would have it on a big drafting board and you would lay out all the components, and then you'd take that into a room that had controlled lighting and you'd shoot a picture of that, and then you'd send the film to the printing press. Man, 2 separations to send the film to the printing press.
That's wild to think all of that was just photographed physically.
All analog process.
Look, things were simpler back then.
Ain't that the truth?
Okay, something happened this week that I am ashamed to admit it's never happened before. It really calls into question my memory, and B, my, notification policies.
Uh-oh. What'd you miss?
Well, how do you know I missed something?
I'm just assuming. With your advancing years, it has to be something forgetting something.
I feel weird saying this on a podcast because I feel like they're going to come arrest me. I missed jury duty.
Oh, hold on. What kind of, local jury duty or federal jury duty?
San Francisco City, whatever.
Criminal or civil?
I think that was the jurisdiction. Well, I think that gets determined after you report and if you get.
No, because you go to different places in the city for civil versus criminal court.
Oh, no, this was civil. Okay, actually, I'm looking at the summons.
Yeah, that's nothing. Don't worry about it then. It's fine.
I was on standby. I don't know. I think San Francisco is the only place where I've ever dealt with jury duty. Maybe it's because it's the only place I was an adult for a few years before I came here. But I guess, does this happen in every municipality?
Well, there's jury duty everywhere. In Tennessee, when I got called for jury duty, you basically, they didn't have the system. The system we have here is that you go to a website in the morning and put your juror number in.
Or at night,
and they tell you,
before.
Yeah, the night before. And they tell you if they need you that next day.
Yeah, so your summons is for a week, or your standby service is for a week. And every night, every evening before the next day, you have to check to see if your group number is called to report in.
Exactly.
I've done this, I don't know how many times. I've had jury duty 6 or 8, probably at least 6 or 8 times since I moved out here.
Yeah.
Because once you complete it, you're only good for a year. Usually I don't get called for way more than a year. It's been like 2 or 3 years.
If you're actually seated, you usually have even more time between.
But I've never missed anything related to jury duty. I've reported every time they've said to. I had the card out on my desk.
Oh, no.
It was just whatever. Monday night, I was busy getting my taxes done.
Yeah.
Just forgot to look at the card.
Oh, no, you didn't go?
That's what I'm saying. I forgot Monday night. Well, Sunday night, I checked Sunday night. I was fine for Monday. I've had multiple summons in the past or standby services where I never got called. And if you don't get called for the entire week, you're still just good. You're like, okay,
that counts.
You're released. That counts. So Sunday night, I was fine. Monday night, I was up, or not up, but I was busy trying to get my taxes done until 8 p.m. or something.
That's not a valid excuse, Brad.
Just plain forgot to pull up the website, despite having my card sitting right here on the desk. About 11 a.m. Tuesday morning, I was just seized by fear, and I was like, oh my God, I forgot to check the website last night. But there's a dozen groups every week, and they usually only call 1 or 2 groups a day. So I was like, okay, my odds are still very good. It's only day 2. I'm probably fine. I was not fine.
Did the what's the name? What was Bull on Night Court?
He's not a bailiff, is he?
But yeah, did the bailiff come to your house?
No.
Kick your door in?
No.
Be like, hey, grab you by the scruff of the neck.
Like the one and only group they called for the entire court system that day was my group.
Wow.
It was like, I was just like slow motion scrolling the website, feeling sheer terror when I saw that I was supposed to have reported 3 hours earlier.
So you can always call them and be like, hey, I'm sorry I'm not there. I have really bad diarrhea, because nobody's gonna make that up.
Yeah,
you're not gonna use that as an excuse unless you have really bad diarrhea.
Okay, look, let me just say up front here, I think I could be forgiven for being a little extra skittish about dealing with anything like governmentally bureaucratic right now.
Yeah, civil court though.
Let's say. I mean, maybe the institutions haven't completely broken down here yet, but you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's so look, I've forgotten stuff before too. It happens to everybody. It's fine.
Yes, I called and like, I mean, I should just cut to the chase. I called and the dude was just not even,
he was not about it.
He was not even worried about it. He was just like, we'll just reschedule you. You want to do May? Do you want to do June?
Look, the secret is to pick Thanksgiving week.
Yeah.
Because they shut down on Wednesday. So you got 2 days.
He did not give me the option of pushing it that far out.
Oh. Okay.
I think that, your penance is, the idea was your penance is you are going to make it up soon.
Yeah.
But, I briefly Googled around, like, what are the maximum penalty? It looks like the maximum penalty could have been a $250 fine. Well,
yeah. Or
technically, if you want to be like technical, like according to the law, the judge could issue a bench warrant for your arrest, but it's probably not going to happen.
Well, so I had jury duty one time in San Mateo for the San Mateo criminal court, and the jury selection took more than 1 day. So I showed up for the first day, and he was like, okay, everybody back here at 8:00 tomorrow morning. And I was like, wait, really? We have to come back again a second day, even though we're not on the jury yet? And sure enough. So that next day when he was calling roll for the jurors and like 2 people didn't show up, he issued bench warrants for them.
No kidding.
Yeah. He was pissed.
Wow.
So
that's exactly what I read in a Reddit thread about San Francisco jury duty, was somebody saying, I've seen a judge furious before issuing arrest warrants from the bench because he was pissed.
Yeah. That somebody showed up. It was specifically because somebody showed up the day before and then didn't show up the next day when he gave really explicit instructions that you had to come back the next day.
Sure. I almost got put on a murder trial in 2008.
Oof, don't want that.
I know it was 2008 because it was directly prior to the one Tokyo Game Show that we went to at Giant Bomb.
Yeah.
When Giant Bomb was about 2 months old.
Yeah.
And I was in the very last round of, they flat out said like, hey, this is a murder trial. This could take up to a month. Like, know that going in. And we already had the plane tickets booked for TGS.
Oh,
like
the plane tickets, booked plane tickets will get you out every time,
the
though.
whole thing. But I was close enough to getting put on there that we were in the, okay, if you have a valid excuse, you need to write it for the judge will go through these excuses.
Yeah.
But I full on said like, hey, I'm like 1 out of 4 people at a brand new startup that has an international business trip coming up in like 9 days. It would be pretty bad for our business if I was not able to go. So it was fine.
I got out of the one that the guy didn't show up for because I was doing it was during the food days and we were doing shoots in Texas that would have overlapped with the trials. And he was like, well, clearly you can't do this. Get the hell out.
Yep. Anyway.
I forgot a Snow Patrol show one time.
Oh,
yeah. We had bought paper. It was back when you still got paper tickets, and we'd bought the tickets and we put them on the refrigerator. And then like 10 days after the show, Gina looked at the tickets and we're like, hey, what's today? And I was like, it's such and such plus 10 days. And she was like, oh, crap. We forgot we were supposed to go to a show at the Warfield.
Well,
that stunk.
I'm sure that was an equally crappy, but somehow less legally actionable feeling.
I don't think the early 2000s, like garage indie rock cops were going to come get me.
Probably not. Anyway, maybe it's time to start setting up reminders for things like this.
Smooth criminal. Do you not use a calendar?
No.
Oh,
I typically use my brain for things.
No,
like
you can't trust your brain. Your brain's bad.
Look, it's gotten me this far.
Look, if you don't write it down, it didn't happen. That's the rule. So I killed another monitor, Brad.
Another one?
Yeah.
The monitor murderer strikes again.
I don't like, part of it is that my monitors were old, I guess, because like this one was more than 10 years old. I bought it during the food days.
Okay.
But also I'm like, it just didn't power on one day.
Okay.
Like, I don't know I don't know what's going on. I think I'm going to try this one doesn't have an obvious fix. This is an Acer. It's the first Acer 4K G-Sync monitor, basically. So it's a 27-inch XB something or other. And it's just doing the thing where it doesn't power on when you hit the power button, which
that seems bad.
Well, on my LG ultra wide, that was because the EEPROM was showing a corrupt, like the corruption bit was showing that it was corrupt, so it just didn't boot. And I was able to fix it by just downloading the firmware from the chip and then re-uploading it, which reset the corruption bit.
Yes.
And I was looking at this one, and the EEPROM is the same exact EEPROM as on that LG.
Oh.
And I have the writer for it right here.
All right.
So I think I'm going to bust it open and give it a try.
Might as well.
See what I can do.
Yeah.
But I'm like, why am I killing all these monitors? Is it
I don't know.
Like they just die after 10 years and I just have never had one that long?
I've been sitting here trying to think of some Jack the Ripper equivalent for monitors. Like, what do you got?
Man, the monitors were asking for it. Okay.
Whoa. I mean, what'd you say? 10 years old?
Yeah, I bought it in like 2017, 2016, probably.
How do we feel about 10 years for a monitor? That's like a decent run, right?
I mean, typically up until this point, like the resolutions haven't stayed the same long enough that I would keep a monitor for more than that. Cause like I went from 1080p panels or probably 1024 by 768 or 1280 by 1024, like weird aspect ratio panels to 1080p panels to like,
look, man,
30-inch panels.
Well documented. I was on 1680 by 1050 for about 15 years.
Yeah, we don't need to talk about that. I wasn't going to bring it up. I was going to let you stew in that one.
You know, these bigger monitors are better. I'm going to say.
Well, so I switched. So I have that OLED, the 4K OLED on the bottom now, and I put my old 1080p 360 monitor on the top. And I'm going to say, I don't know how I lived like this. 1080p is not enough pixels.
No, it's really not.
Like modern UI is not made for 1080p anymore.
No, I think you're right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
I'm quite happy on 1440p 27-inch. I think that's a good.
Well, you have two of them too.
Well, yes, that's fair. But I think I'm always going to have two monitors from now on. It's just too useful not to.
I think the
maybe three at some point.
3 is too many.
Is it?
I've had 3 before.
I've got a 3-monitor mount in the closet that I've never used. I was sent by a company that I've been.
Well,
I've been thinking more and more that if and when there is a good OLED 27-inch, like same size and resolution as these, but OLED that is like reasonably priced, I might get that 3-monitor mount out.
I think those are under $800 now.
Yeah, that's still more than I want to pay for. That's still way more than I want to pay for a monitor.
OLED's a premium product.
These are working just fine. But I spend enough time these days looking at like white text on black background that I keep thinking like, man, what if there was no backlight here? What if it was just the text on the screen and nothing else? I'm
going to tell you when I put Discord into ultra dark mode and put it on the OLED, it's like the text is just floating in space.
Seriously, like I can't even imagine what that looks like to have like just a void of nothing except for some letters appearing on the screen. I want to see that very badly.
Maybe the answer to this problem is for me to get a second OLED 4K and put that on the top.
Maybe.
But yeah, like looking at the OLED, the white text on the black screen with the OLED is like staring God in the face. It's delightful.
Yeah, I bet. Are we good on burn-in? Like, are we feeling
good? Staring God in the face, good or bad?
I don't know. Depends on what you did.
I feel like it's not going to be good most of the time.
It really depends on what you did to get there.
Yeah.
Are we good on burn-in? Like, are OLED monitors like safe long-term now?
This one's a loaner from the company that makes it, so I wasn't really thinking about it in the long term.
Not have to worry about that.
I'm just enjoying the time I have with it. I think it does a every 16 hours of online use. It's like, hey, you should do the self-care routine now, or we can just do it the next time you turn off your computer.
What does that entail?
It turns off for like 5 minutes and then turns back on. I don't know.
Interesting.
I assume it's looking at the pixelware and is like doing some business to even it out. I don't know.
Okay. How about micro LED monitors?
I don't think there's a thing there yet.
It should be.
The micro LEDs are the ones that the LEDs produce the light.
Micro LED is basically the same as OLED minus the organic compounds, minus the O. It's just a different way of producing the same style of self-emissive pixels.
Well, there's also the micro LED backlights with the local dimming and all that stuff.
That's mini LED.
Mini LED.
Okay. Mini LED is that. Micro LED is basically supposed to be the successor to OLED. Like it's basically OLED without the disadvantages. Like it's brighter and it doesn't have burn-in issues, supposedly. But I'm going to say it's going to be like, if OLED monitors are still $800, then it's probably going to be 15 years before there were decent micro LED monitors out there.
The first micro LED stuff that people saw at CES, they were underwhelmed with the image quality on, was my understanding too.
Yeah.
And I think it's mostly for bigger screens than you'd probably use for a desktop monitor.
Probably. It's probably a long way off.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might start staring at OLED monitors a little more intently and not actually doing anything about it, but staring.
I'm going to go ahead and tell you, like I said this before, but if you have like a decent computer, if you're looking for what to spend money on before the tariffs destroy our economy, like I would, and you have a decent video card, I would absolutely buy one of these nice, like $1,000 spent on this OLED monitor. If you have a 3080 or 3090 or 4090 or 4080 or something like that, is going to be way better for you than buying a 5 series video card.
Yeah, it occurred to me the last time you said that I wonder if OLED monitors are now in that position that SSDs were 15 years ago, where it was like, this is the single most meaningful upgrade you can get for your computer. You know, it's like incremental speed increases are nice and all, but they are incremental, and this is like a sea change. You know what I mean? It's like this will fundamentally alter your relationship to using the computer.
It's the only thing that I worry about is the saturation, like the color saturation. I can't tell if it's just because the way the OLED works or if it's because this monitor is like oversaturated. I feel like the color, or because it's an HDR OLED versus HDR LCD on the top, like sometimes it feels a little bit much.
Yeah, I could see that.
But,
you know what occurs to me talking about buying an OLED monitor and stacking it next to these two LCDs?
What?
Am I going to be able to keep using two LCDs next to an OLED?
So, look, my top monitor has reference material and reading stuff and like Discord and things like that.
Yes, like
it's fine.
I'm mostly joking. I would play games on the OLED and the Discord, and but OBS would go on the sides. It would be fine.
What if you got real into racing games and you put 3 monitors around you, and then you put a steering wheel on your desk, and you became one of those guys?
Yeah. What if?
Think about it.
That's, maybe I'll just keep thinking about it.
Yeah. Think about it. We've reached the time when like I'd be staring down the barrel of a new Zachtronics game if Zachtronics hadn't shut down. Yeah,
Zachtronics, amazingly prolific developer for the given the type of games they put out.
Yeah, well, I mean, how do you describe Zachtronics, I guess?
They're programming games. They're even that I feel like is selling it short. Some of them are, but like they're engineering games, maybe.
Yeah, that's it. They're really structured, right? Although, so mechanically complicated.
Like now that I'm looking at their website, like even that is selling them short, because like some of their games are like, okay, there's TIS 100, which literally has you doing like programming fake assembly language on a fake like calculator or a fake processor that never existed.
Yeah.
There's Shenzhen IO, which is like having you making circuits and writing code to drive them and stuff. And then there's
Moloch Synthes and Space Chem are basically like molecular assembly games,
right?
Like you're building nano machines, basically.
And Last Call BBS was their last game before they'd said, "Hey, we're not making games anymore." And that's like you running a BBS. But then I look at all these other games. They've got like they've got a solitaire collection. They've got Mobius Front 83, which is a full on like hex based tank military strategy game. They've got a visual novel.
Yeah.
This might be the most prolific and what's the word I'm looking for? Like varied game developer I've ever seen. They've got
their oeuvre is wide.
Ironclad Tactics is a fast-paced, card-based tactics game set in an alternate history civil war.
Yeah, it's always high concept stuff that has weird meta layers and like I don't know.
Also, how many people was Zachtronics?
It was small.
Yeah, like I always got the sense. I mean, it wasn't literally one guy, right? I mean, there is a Zach, right?
There is a Zach, yeah. But I think he had a larger team by the end.
They made a game called Zacademics. That's great.
That sounds pretty good.
That's great. Anyway, like I think, how did this come about? You were telling me yesterday that I should play TIS 100, or you were like, hey, there's a Zachtronics game that literally kind of teaches assembly language.
Yeah, you should play TIS 100. I didn't realize this, but Infiniminer, which is an open source game, sandbox multiplayer game developed by Zachtronics, inspired Minecraft. Apparently,
wait. Are you thinking of Infinifactory?
No, I'm talking about Infiniminer. It's not a game that they sell now.
Are you serious? Like I definitely know Infiniminer as the game that Minecraft kind of took its whole thing from, but I had no idea Zachtronics is who made Infiniminer. That's fucking crazy. What?
Yeah. Zach
Man.
Barth is who made who is the Zach in Zachtronics.
If I were the person who made the game that heavily inspired Minecraft, I might also get out of the game eventually.
I mean,
that's got to be a tough one. It literally says it on the page right here.
Yeah.
Infiniminer is a first-person competitive mining game that takes place in a procedurally generated block world, allowing players to mine, build, and explore. Sound familiar? That's because Infiniminer is the game that started the block genre that everyone knows and loves.
Wow. Is this on their page for Infiniminer?
That is on the Zachtronics page for Infiniminer. That's got to be rough, making the game that then inspired a game that went on to make billions and billions of dollars.
Wow.
Yeah, wow. I don't know if there's anything else to say.
Yeah, I think that, man.
You're not wrong though. Like I've looked at Zachtronics from afar with interest for a long time, and maybe I should crack into TIS 100. There's like a whole little like sub genre of programming games on Steam now that if I had more time, I would love to dig into. I'm sure you've seen a lot of these.
It's interesting because like I want to say the World of Goo people made one too. That's like teaches you algorithms basically. Tower of Human Resource Machine.
Oh yes, yes, I've heard of that.
Also, 7 Billion Humans is like a similar. It's the same company, same idea. It's basically teaching you algorithm design.
Yes.
And how to do sorts and stuff.
The one that if I ever have the time to check one of these out, the one I really would like to check out is called The Farmer Was Replaced. Have you seen this?
No, I've never seen this.
It's like a combination. It's like a strategy. It's a farming simulation strategy game where the farms are all run by robots and you are programming the robots.
Oh man, this looks fabulous.
And from what I've looked at the code, like the syntax is like basically Python. Like it's basically just a simple programming, but a very familiar looking programming language.
Oh man, that's cool.
Like you're full on writing functions that you can call to have the robots do different stuff. Like it sounds awesome.
So the human resource machine stuff is more abstract than that. It's like if then loops and stuff like that. And you can kind of drag them around, so you can basically eventually you're building functions and like calling the function to do the repeated God, I'm so sorry. We're recording this early. What's the word when the thing references itself? Recursive. Thank you. So you can call the function recursively and do all the like they literally are teaching recursion and all that stuff in this. Cool. Like how do you get the people to go from point A to point B and do the thing that you want along the way?
Yeah. You know what? Like I'm responsible for playing a lot of video games, but maybe I could carve off like 5 fewer hours of Assassin's Creed Shadows and spend some time programming some robots instead.
Look, man, I would love to do a ongoing, like this would be a fun ongoing thing where we play different programming games and like see if we eventually become programmers.
Hang on. Have we just birthed a new bucket for types of episodes of this podcast?
Oh man.
Maybe we have.
I would maybe watch that. I would listen to that.
Okay. All right. Let's. Hey, if you out there on the Discord have thoughts about us playing some programming games and coming on here to talk about them, let us know.
Yeah.
Where can people find information about the Discord?
You know, it's funny you say that. This is a listener supported podcast, so we wouldn't be here without you, the listener. And if you would like to find out how to support the show, you can go to patreon.com/jackpod, where for the low price of $5 a month, you get access to our monthly patron exclusive episode where we talk about other things. I was listening to another podcast and they described their patron episode as a looser edit, which I think is correct. I think that's like
as the person who edits the episodes, I can tell you the patron episode gets less editing.
Well, but it's more that we kind of don't cut. Like sometimes we go on weird tangents on these episodes and we'll chop them out.
It's more, it's much looser and more free association. Like, here's what we've been up to. Here's what is
conversational.
On our minds.
Yeah. Sometimes we take, we get questions from email. We get questions from the Discord. Sometimes we get questions in the Discord that are a little silly, and we'll sometimes spend some real serious time thinking about the answers to those silly questions. Mm-hmm. So yeah, you get that. You get the access to the Discord, which is full of beautiful people who are interested in a lot of the same things. I guarantee you are. It's funny. I was talking to somebody last night on Blue Sky, and they were asking me if I knew anything about putting solar panels on like their deck as a like, hey, how can I get power for things that I need in case of an emergency or whatever, long-term power outage. And I was like, I don't know anything about German solar panels because those products are different, but I guarantee you, I know people were having this conversation in the Discord like a month ago, and there will be people who are interested in that kind of stuff, whatever weird project you're into. So it's patreon.com/techpod. Again, patreon.com/techpod. And we really appreciate the support because it makes the podcast possible.
It sure does. And we do.
We each appreciate each and every one of our patrons, but we especially appreciate our executive producer tier patrons, including Jason Lee, Andrew Slosky, Jordan Lippett, Bunny Day. Bunny Day's this weekend. Today, happy Bunny Day, I guess.
Yeah, happy Bunny Day.
Twinkle Twinkie, David Allen, James Kamek, and Pantheon, makers of the HS3 high-speed 3D printer. Thank you all so much.
Yes, we appreciate you.
And that'll do it for us this week. Brad, until next week, I hope you have a lovely holiday weekend.
Thank you. Wait, is it a holiday weekend?
I mean, it's Easter.
Oh, wow. Okay. All right.
Yeah. Cool. Happy Easter, I guess.
I'm going to spend that time installing Fedora.
You should get a chocolate bunny. Treat yourself.
Okay. All right. Maybe I'll eat a chocolate bunny while I install Fedora 42.
There you go. And we will be back next week with another edition of the Tech Pod. Until then, please consider the environment before printing this podcast. Bye, everybody.